Hi, Weenies. Do we have something today? Where do I even start? Holy God. Okay. Let's start with some simple stuff, okay? Hi, how are you doing? How was your Tuesday? I hope it was good. Mine was fine. Thank you for asking. I had an impromptu, about 30-minute live stream with you guys after not doing a live stream for like 2 months. That was fun. Yeah. I had a good time chatting with y'all. Happened to stumble across a Doody video. This Doody video, which I will link down below, of course, it's Phil talking about the incident. And at first I was like, oh my God, I gotta hear this. What does he have to say? And I watch it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So what we're gonna do today is we are going to talk about this 13-minute clip of Phil explaining the lore of the May 1st burst incident. Can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I've already kind of talked about it a little bit in my live, and which the live is posted, is uploaded on my channel, so you can go under the lives tab and watch that, where we kind of talk about it. There's nothing else to say. Remember, guys, if you enjoy my content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you would like to see some bonus content, become a member now. You won't regret it, I promise. All right, guys. Let's get started. So Phil was playing Truck Simulator yesterday. So that was Monday night. And, you know, he drinks when he does this, right? And for some reason, he's always, like, saying the most outlandish shit on Truck Sim nights. I don't know. But I guess somebody asks him to elaborate more on the incident. And he goes on a little 12-minute manic rant. He drops some lore, okay? Yeah, let's start it.
Now, as for your second question, about the incident 9 years ago, I talked about this many times. I don't shy away from talking about it, because the real reason that I survived the incident is because I owned it, and because I made a joke out of it and I laughed with it while the whole world was laughing at me. I laughed too. I feel like if I had done it the opposite, and instead I had been like offended or tried to hide it as a secret or said it didn't happen, it would have been very poorly for me. You know, it probably would have been the end. But instead I treated it like a stupid, embarrassing, funny thing that could have happened to anyone, and it panned out well. Now,
okay, I will give Phil this very little, this speck that I agree. If he wouldn't have laughed at himself, and if he would have initially he didn't. Initially he tried to say that he was scratching his leg, which that didn't work. And so he's like, yeah, I ain't got a choice. I got to tell the truth. And so he did. And he played along with it, and he played with the meme, because he knew Phil is dumb, but there's sometimes that he does have a little moment of clarity. Post-nut clarity, if you will. I only know that because y'all are nasty. This community is full of too many men. So gross. But no, he knew if he didn't play along with this would be the end of his career. So I'll give him that. It's not much in the retrospective things, but I will give him that.
Hold on 1 second here. Get this. To be honest, I feel like I am pretty lucky in that regard. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I was a unique guy in a situation where so many people on the internet at that point were already making fun of me for, like, this is how you don't play and stuff, that it didn't really matter that there was another thing that they were trying to tack on that was embarrassing. If everyone is already saying this guy is a joke, he's a bad gamer, and all of this. Keep in mind, this was before I was an interactive streamer. I didn't do anything like I'm doing right now. It was more just doing raw playthroughs and trying to put out quality playthroughs, right? So, here we go.
What? He's like, oh, I've already done enough embarrassing things. What's getting caught, choking the snake on camera? What's that? What?
They are. So, yeah, like, because already people had kind of made me out to be a joke on the internet and stuff like that, I think that's why I was able to laugh it off and people laughed at me, but it was okay. Like, if it was the first time you ever heard about DSP and that's what you heard, you probably would have been like, what the hell? Who is this degenerate loser? But people already knew who Darkside Phil was, and they're like, oh my god, now that's an embarrassing thing that happened to him, right? Also, let's be very honest here. I was very lucky that absolutely nothing was shown.
Oh, you were lucky, all right. Oh, you were lucky, because wasn't like 80% of your audience, or nearly all of your audience at that time, young kids? Children? I don't see how you're still justifying that nothing was seen when it was pretty blatantly obvious what was happening in front of children, Phil. Is there something fucking wrong with you? You're justifying, like, oh, it's not that bad. I was already a piece of shit on the internet, so what's getting caught touching myself on camera, on a live stream? The justifications that this guy is trying to do is actual insanity, y'all. It gets worse. I know what you're thinking. Really? No, it does.
Because the truth of the matter is, nothing was shown whatsoever. Nothing. It was just my stupid O-face, awful resolution, peach fuzz, no audio. You didn't see what I was looking at. Obviously, there was no nudity or anything. No, really, it was not true sexual content. There's more sexual content shown in a movie like American Pie than was in that clip, right? So I was very lucky. Because if I had shown anything, or if there was actually audio that had been captured or something, oh boy, that probably would have definitely been like not able to come back from.
Dude, what were you watching, first of all? What were you watching? That you're saying that there was some audio that played? What were you watching? I don't know why that like threw up a red flag for me. He's like, oh, well, nothing was seen. You couldn't see what I was looking at. What were you looking at? Yeah, like corn is corn, right? But was it that degenerate? I bet it was. Oh my god. Okay, y'all know my theory, and if you haven't watched my video, I put it up on the May 1st of this year. I talk about how there was no load during the May 1st burst. They're like, oh, why didn't he clean his hands? Why didn't he clean himself off? I'm like, well, there was nothing to clean up. Phil, in my opinion, had a corn addiction. And he was doing this multiple times a day, which in his story right now, he's trying to act like he didn't. Like, oh, I was just able to do it when I could. You'll hear it. You'll hear it when we get further into this god-awful story. I am almost guaranteeing that this dude has a serious addiction. And I just found out some more shit today that proves this theory. And again, we're going to recap and talk about that a little bit at the end. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's so much here, y'all. There's so much here. It's so gross. It's not just gross in the fact that he was touching himself. What's gross is how he is right now trying to justify it. He's giving lore of why he touched himself. He's trying to justify him doing that. Sorry. Again, let's just keep going.
But I did get lucky in that regard, okay? Now, a lot of people say, well, how did that whole go down and everything? It's honestly, it's a pretty simple story. It's just a sad one. And I've told it before. So
I'm trying not to pause too much, y'all. I'm trying. But God. First of all, who asked that? Phil, DSP, why did you decide to touch yourself that day? Can you please tell the story of why you decided to touch yourself? Sure, it's a story, but it's a sad one. You see, starting off a story of when you're explaining why you decided to touch yourself as it's a sad story is actual madness. Actual madness. Why didn't you just say I just wanted to? Again, y'all, this gets worse or better, however you want to look at it.
Some people to this day accuse me of faking it. Are you insane? You think I would fake something like that? It's like I've said, it was my most embarrassing moment of my life. And like the one silver lining I take out of it is that no matter what happens to me for the rest of my life, I've already experienced my most embarrassing moment. There's no way I could have a more embarrassing moment than that. Really? Like, what else could there be more embarrassing than that?
I don't know, Phil. I don't know, man. Apparently, there's been some more embarrassing moments that you've had that you're trying to cover up right now.
So I'm good in that regard. I got it out of my system relatively early, right? I floored the brakes and the truck didn't stop. I don't know what happened. I floored the brakes and the truck didn't stop. God damn it. All right, well, this car is not going to move. I got to back up. It doesn't seem to want to move. He just tried to back into me, by the way. Did you see that? All right, so that's called momentum. Oh, I don't know about that. What's momentum? Anyway. So
He's very nervous talking about this. I feel like that's very clear that he's trying to what I see him doing is that he is trying to come up with the right way to manipulate his words, which he's about to do big. He's got to when a person is going to like tell a story, but they want it to sound a certain way where it makes them a victim. They want to make sure they use the right language, because if you use the wrong language, you're not the victim. You can make yourself seem like what you actually are, and that is not the victim in that situation. So he's nervous. He's nervous, and he's trying to think of a way to say this to where it makes him look like, oh, poor Phil. Poor Phil.
in regards to the incident, now that this, the most embarrassing moment has happened, you know, I honestly think like things have slowly gotten better since then, honestly, if you want to know the truth.
Takes a drink. Oh, things have gotten so much better since then. What?
That really was the low point of my life. So what's the story behind it? It's not complicated at all. At that time frame, things were falling apart for me. This was 9 years ago, okay? Things were falling apart for me piece by piece my entire life. So first of all, I moved out here in 2014. I lived in Connecticut originally, but I basically spent like all of my money that I had earned on YouTube for this move. To buy the house, to move across the country, to furnish the house, and some. I overspent, basically expecting that I was always going to make the same amount of money. Within 2 years of me moving, my income was like halved. So I was completely screwed because I was already up to eyeballs in debt, and I didn't see a way out of this financially. I thought that I had completely screwed myself up entirely for the rest of my life. So just that, okay, was one big problem that was going on. Then,
so you made a bad financial decision. Okay. We all know this. Okay, move along.
my personal life started to unravel. You know, I was with a significant other. I'm no longer with her since 2017, by the way. My current, you know, my wife and everything I met after that, okay? So anyway, I had been with this, you know, this girl for a while, and we decided to move and start a life together. And at first it was fine, but basically as soon as stuff started to happen, like financial issues and heavy trolling on the internet, basically our whole relationship fell apart. Like, we just stopped wanting to spend time together. We didn't really talk that much. We lived in the same house, but we weren't really interacting that much. She went off and got a job for herself and was hanging out with her own friends while I was at home all the time working to pay the bills and keep the house, basically. So...
Did you hear that? Do you catch that? Like, that is absolute manipulation to make Panda look like the piece of shit in this situation. This is the entirety of the story. Oh, she went and got a job for herself. That's a normal thing that a fucking person does, Phil. And she started hanging out with her friends. Okay. That doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be with you. Maybe she just wanted some fucking privacy. Then again, it probably meant she didn't want to be with you. Because, Phil, you weren't a fucking ray of sunshine, let's be completely honest. Like, are you serious? And then he's like, oh, I was at home working to keep the house. It's like, no, you were begging for money on the internet. You, at that time, were literally begging like a pathetic worm on the internet. That was your time where you begged the worst on the internet. Literally saying, you can't afford your bills, yada, yada, yada. But it was Panda's fault because Panda went out and got a job and started hanging out with friends.
The entire thing had fallen apart. I mean, it got to the point where we weren't barely talking or interacting. And it sucked because, there's at that point, there's no privacy. We live in the same house. So how do you have any privacy to yourself when you're living with someone who's almost just like a roommate, right? It was just messed up. Now, the thing is, we didn't want to tell the internet about that because everyone would just turn it into drama. So we lied and we fibbed and we basically made a bunch of stuff up constantly. There was a couple times we tried to make it still work. Like we went on a trip once to Seattle, and maybe this trip is like kind of the last straw where we'll click again and things will work out. But it just didn't work out. Right? It was destined to fail. It really wasn't a good relationship to begin with, to be honest with all of you. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. I haven't watched a lot of the Panda Lee era. I've stayed away from it because that whole era gives me the ick. But y'all love to talk about how Panda Lee wanted this man and he never gave it to her. Okay, this goes into my theory as to why I think Phil had a pornography problem. I'm almost positive. He was neglecting this girl. I'm almost sure of it. She hasn't come out and said anything like that, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure that he was neglecting her because he had a problem that she couldn't fulfill. Happens a lot. Men, especially like Phil, that had too much access to the internet, a physical woman is not enough. Happens. And if that's happening with you, get help because it's unhealthy. And I hope that you learn to better yourself, and because your brain deserves better. Just saying. And Phil, why do I refuse to believe that you are actively trying to make things better? I feel like Phil gave up. I feel like he was so deep into this weird addiction issue that he had with, internet things and alcohol and who knows what else weird shit he was doing. And I feel like he gave up on this relationship. And then after a while, so did she. I refuse to believe that he was trying to make it better. I refuse to believe that he made any effort to be better to Panda. I refuse. And so, yeah, she stopped wanting to be with you because you gave up on her. What woman would want to be with that, Phil? Especially with a woman that was as young as she was. What is she, like, in her early 20s? She needed better.
So my personal relationship was falling apart at the seams. I was up to my eyeballs in debt. I was constantly being trolled all the time. And so basically what I saw was that this room, this office, as I called it back then, now I call it more of a studio because I have so much fancy stuff in here now. But back then I just considered it my office, right? My workspace. This was literally the only room in the house where I could be private, where we didn't have a shared space where she would have access to it. You know what I'm saying? When I was in here and the door was closed, that's me time, right?
That's time for me to jerk the ween. So, okay. I want to make this correlation. So he's currently talking about the room that he's in right now. Phil, what's to say that you're still not having private time in your office before your streams? Who's to say that you and Kat aren't lying about your marriage being active right now? Who's to say you don't still have an issue with an addiction that prevents you from being intimate with your significant other? Who's to say that Kat isn't even there? You're saying all this stuff when right now your life kind of still matches what was going on. I don't know. Him saying, oh, the studio or, the office that I'm in, this was my private place. So is it still your private place to have me time, privacy?
Problem being, she was almost always home. Yes, she had a job, so there was a few times a week when she went to work. For the most part, the only time that I got to myself, to be for myself here, was here in this room. So how did this situation happen? Well, I was insanely stressed out. We weren't really together. I was at my wit's end. I wanted some private time, and I idiotically tried to squeeze in some private time at the only time that I could, like literally as I was starting my work stream, which is the stupidest thing you could possibly do, but it wasn't like I was in my right mind. I was insanely stressed out. I was doing dumb things. I mean, daily people were baiting me into doing rage bait shit on stream, and like I said, it was just a very different time of my life. And I'm so happy now things are so very different. I'm much wiser. I'm older. I don't usually, fall for dumb shit like that. I do still sometimes, but not all the time.
Guys, back then, Phil would have touched himself because he was very sad with his relationship and his life and his own mistakes. But not current Phil, not older, wiser Phil. He did not just say that he is older and wiser. First of all, what? Oh my God, that was okay. And Phil, we all saw you have the biggest fucking crash out, Iron Chef Sakai. Or should I just play that clip? Yeah.
I don't know who that is. How would I collab with someone who I don't know who that is? I don't even know what content they make. I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Then he says, I don't answer the peasants. Then he says, a little bit of the 200K I'm making this year. Thanks for giving good content. I don't answer to the less fortunate. Who are you talking to? I'm the streamer. I have a right to ask you whatever I want, and you got to answer. If you don't, I have a right to kick your ass off my stream, regardless of the fact of how much you contributed or not. Now, are you Iron Chef Sakai or not? Answer right fucking now in chat. Are you Iron Chef Sakai or not? I wanted an answer right now. The stream is on hold until we get a fucking answer. He said, I'm your daddy? No, you're my little bitch. Don't you understand? I run the fucking show out here, not you. So enjoy your fucking ban. Go get fucked, okay? Now I'm not counting any of his contributions whatsoever towards the stream. He can go fuck himself. Now allow me to make this perfectly clear. I run the show, not you. Your contributions don't steer this ship. I do. I'm the king. And you are the peasant. It doesn't matter if you make 200K, 500K, 2 million, 10 million. I don't care if you're fucking Elon Musk or if you're some Arabian oil baron. I'm the fucking person in charge here, not you. Your money means absolutely fucking nothing. You don't buy power, bitch. Go fuck yourself. You are in fucking significant on my streams. Period. Get it, stupid? Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yep. Older and wiser.
And things are just a lot different now. Okay, I'm so happy that I met my wife, and I'm happily married, and we have such a great life together. Like I said, my home life outside of this room is amazing. It's really, really good. And it's actually getting better now that things are better with support, where we can take extra days off. Like this week, we're gonna have an extra day off. We can spend time together. It's gonna be really, really good. Okay. But anyway,
do you see the theatrics that he's doing with his hands? It's very performative. It doesn't come off as genuine. He's like, oh, I'm very happy. So glad that I met my wife. I don't believe it. I don't buy it for a second, especially after what he just said with him saying, oh, me and Panda had to lie to y'all for so long because we didn't want the internet to start drama. So who's to fucking say you're not doing it now, Phil? Who's to say you're not doing it now?
Yeah. So this room was basically my one escape from this depressing life that I had behind the scenes, And I know that sounds messed up. It really was. Like, it really was dysfunction. It was a split existence where we had had to keep up appearances to make everyone think that we were still happy and together. I mean, I'm not even kidding. We basically weren't together almost the full 2 years that we still lived together. Because remember, we moved out here in 2014. I would argue probably it was around middle to late 2015 that the whole thing fell apart. And then we still were together, but not really, until, what was it, like the beginning of 2017? I want to say it was February, March 2017 when we broke up and she moved out. So, I mean, think about being like a prisoner in your own house for like a year and a half. You're stuck with someone who you really don't have feelings for. They don't have feelings for you. You're trying to make it work. It's not working. You have no way to really be separated because it's not like this is a humongous house where, like, I can't live on the top floor and she lives on the bottom floor. Like, you know what I mean?
So you couldn't stand the bitch. Is that what you're saying? You couldn't stand to be around her because being around her meant that you couldn't touch yourself. That's what I'm hearing. And it's fucking gross. Phil, like, this story is meant to make him look like the victim. It's meant to make him look like the sad little man that just wanted some relief. God, Phil, go fucking do something. Go do acid or something. Go out and get a cup of coffee and take a walk in the park. You know, like, shit. Maybe you shouldn't have isolated yourself so much. That's not Panda's fault. Panda was getting out there. She had a fucking job and she had friends. What did you do? Isolated yourself. That's what you did. And so you created this complex in yourself. You enabled yourself to think that I deserve this. I deserve this release because she's putting me through this. She's still in my house. She's making me a prisoner in my own home. Not once has he mentioned that she probably felt the fucking same. Not once has he said she probably was too. It's all about him and how he was feeling and what he needed to do to himself to make him feel better. Getting a little mad, y'all, because this is just gross. This is disgusting. This has pornography addiction all written all over it. This has degeneracy written all over it. This has sick, foul boyfriend behavior all over it. And I am so glad that Panda got the fuck out of there.
So it was a pretty messed up situation. And that's why it happened, because here I am trying to basically have a moment for myself of relief before a stream, and I'm just trying to, like, you know, fit it in when I really can't do it at any other time, and I'm idiotically even trying to do it when the stream is live. That was insanely stupid. Like, the most dumb thing I could have done. And of course, now I know that and admit that, but back then I just didn't give a shit. Honestly, to be honest, remember, this was also the year when I was trying to rebrand myself as KO Gaming, and I was doing a whole edited content channel on YouTube. So in my mind, things were already falling apart and it wasn't working. Like, YouTube was falling apart. I was losing money constantly, losing viewers constantly. My relationship was breaking up. My financials were awful. Everything was bad in my life. So I was like, fuck it. I don't even care anymore. I don't care about the risks I take. I don't care about nothing because nothing's working anyway. So who gives a shit? You know, I was really depressed. 2016, yeah, I was really, really depressed that year. I wouldn't be surprised if you look back at stuff I did in 2016, shaking my head at, like, geez, this guy was so angry at everything. I really was. I was very upset that things that were turning out that way. I thought that I was basically going to have to stop doing YouTube, and I was going to probably have to give up the house. That's what I thought ultimately, is that I was going to have to lose my house. I was already losing my relationship. I was probably already going to lose my house. I was going to lose everything. You know what I mean? So it was just a really messed up time.
No. Did you see him catch himself, like, trying to mention his relationship? He didn't give two shits about that relationship. He forced himself to put it in there. He didn't give two shits about it. He worried about the house. He worried about things that made himself comfortable. Oh, he was so depressed. He was so depressed. Okay. I was so, like, this, y'all, all of this story is so that he can explain why he touched himself that day. Like, you can't make this shit up. Even if I tried, you can't make this shit up. This is a lore story of why somebody touched his weenie. What has my life become? What is my life coming? What is my life? What am I doing with myself? What is really disgusting to me, like really, this whole thing fucking grosses me out because he is playing the victim hard. And he wasn't the victim. He wasn't. He did all this shit to himself. You know he gave up on Panda. You know he gave up on that relationship, and that poor girl was stuck there. And she probably felt like a prisoner, if anything else. Like, what a disgusting human being. Like, are you fucking serious? Foul. Nasty. You should be freaking ashamed of yourself for even thinking to tell this story this way. I want to hear Panda. I wish I could hear what she has to say about during this time and how he was. Because right now we're not getting anything to do with her. It's about how victimized he was. When he wasn't the victim. He created this environment. This was his fault. He was getting trolled because he was a piece of shit on the internet, which caused a lot of, like, I can imagine that caused a lot of tension between him and her. And he probably didn't give two shits about how it made her feel. Okay, well, let's move. Let's let him keep going.
Well, like I said, I'm glad I got past it, and now I'm stronger for it. The most embarrassing thing that could have happened to me has already happened, and now I have the rest of my life to focus on instead of worrying about what's the next thing. There is no next bad thing, really. It's already all behind me, the worst stuff. Okay, I know that was a long story, but it is a long story.
That is the shittiest thing you could think of. Oh, I could just go out and do whatever the fuck I want because the worst thing has already happened to me. No, not minding how what the worst part of my life, not minding how it affected the person I was in the relationship at that time. Let's not mind that. It happened to me. It was my most embarrassing moment. You know, not to mention like how my wife currently feels about it. That is so disgusting. That's such a disgusting outlook on life. Y'all, don't ever measure what you can do in your future based on what has happened in the past. That's just begging for history to repeat itself.
We have some more contributions to shout out. So we have Stalking Tiger, who did a $4 super chat and said, I am not Iron Chef Sakai. I'm just letting you know. Thank you for letting me know. Then we have Tiak, who did a $10 super chat, who says, we have all had embarrassing moments like that. Maybe not quite exactly like that, but you handled it better than I would have and better than most here would have. Again, I think because I laughed at it, because I acknowledged how ridiculously embarrassing but also funny it was, it basically made it funny but not important. That's the best way I think I can put it. Like, yeah, it was funny and it was embarrassing, but it also wasn't important in the scheme of things. It was one moment in time that's stupid that I'll never live down. You know, people always make fun of me for that. You know, for as long as I live, and I'm okay with it. But dude, it was 9 years ago. I don't care, right? Bring it up as much as you want. Who cares? It doesn't affect me now. It has nothing to do with anything, right? Like, I'm already so far past it. I'm a whole lifetime ahead of it now. You know what I mean?
And that's it. That's the end of the clip. That last little bit just freaking grosses me out. He's like, oh, bring it up. I don't care. I'm past it. It's like, but you're really fucking not. You're really not. Like, you think you are so high above your past pathetic self when you are actually worse. You're much worse. You're so isolated. You and your wife only go out once a week. You think that's better, Phil? He's got like this false sense of contentment in his mind with his life. He's not content. He displays that often. He's like, I'm not angry anymore. I'm so happy with my life. Okay, well, what was that shit that we just saw with Iron Chef Sakai? Paranoia, anger, distrust. Do I need to play the clip again? Yes.
Your daddy? No, you're my little bitch. Don't you understand? I run the fucking show out here, not you. So enjoy your fucking band. Go get fucked, okay? Now I'm not counting any of his contributions whatsoever towards the stream. He can go fuck himself. Now allow me to make this perfectly clear. I run the show, not you. Your contributions don't steer this ship. I do. I'm the king, and you are the peasant. It doesn't matter if you make 200K, 500K, 2 million, 10 million. I don't care if you're fucking Elon Musk or if you're some Arabian oil baron. I'm the fucking person in charge here, not you. Your money means absolutely fucking nothing. You don't buy power, bitch. Go fuck yourself. You are fucking significant on my streams. Period. Get it, stupid? Okay. Fair enough.
No, you are not a lifetime ahead of whatever the fuck that just happened. You're still living in that nightmare, Phil. And you're going to stay in it for the rest of your life because you don't see anything wrong with the person that you were and continue to be. And I don't feel sorry for you for it. That was the lore behind the incident. Wasn't that just great? Wasn't that just great to find out that a man was depressed, so he touched himself to make himself feel better? Honestly, he could have just said that and it'd be more respectful than whatever the fuck that just was. So freaking gross. And he's like, oh, it was funny. Like, yeah, it's so funny to get caught touching yourself on live in front of a bunch of children. That's so funny, Phil. No. Whatever. Anyways, so I've been hinting towards something. I found out that this incident is apparently not the first incident of Phil getting caught touching himself. In fact, there has been multiple incidents. There are a bunch of little conversations from this little website that people would talk back and forth on, and a lot of them mention Phil having a masturbation problem. He gets made fun of for it. He's known for that, apparently. It gets brought up multiple times by multiple different people. Thank you, Steve, from Twitter, and from that being said, for giving me this information so I could learn more about how sick Phil is. And that way I could voice it even more on why I believe that he's a degenerate, porn-addicted creep. So, I know I had initially said that I was going to do all this for, members only. But I decided against otherwise because I really feel like watching this back, this stuff needs to be included. So I wanted to include this tweet from Steve of the Dead. Shout out to Steve, of course. He's the one that kind of let me know that all of this existed. And this is a list of things that Phil has been caught. Notice that there are 3 things on here before the May 1st burst. Being caught by Jamie, which we're about to read some stuff about that. Other people finding porn on his laptop. Getting hard on Alpha-ism's radio to impress Angela. We'll talk about that at the end. Okay, so now we have this screenshot. Phil was pretty much on this little website talking shit, and somebody comes in here and talks shit back. But I want you to read through it. Here, I'll read the first part. It says, "No, bitch, you are the king of jerking off to gay porn. You call yourself the king of hate. It should be more like the king of shanking off and bitching. That's all you do is talk shit on the computer and jerk off. When was the last time you got some ass from a girl? I know it's been years, 'cause you're an old-looking milky liquor. This is the same guy that got caught jerk off by Jamie, in his room. Wow." Okay. Right there. This is like him spreading a rumor that he heard, pretty much, about Phil getting caught touching himself by Jamie, who, I don't really know who Jamie is. Somebody might have to explain that to me, but from what I understand, this is from one of those fighting game tournaments, and they were in a hotel, and so we don't know for sure if it was in Phil's hotel and somebody went in there and he had people over, or if he was in the restroom or something, but I'm going to assume that it was in Phil's hotel room and maybe he had people in there and he got caught. Something like that, maybe, But notice how many things he's saying, you're known, all you do is touch yourself. Okay, well, this is just the first one. So let's look at the next screenshot. Okay, this one kind of just speaks for itself. So Phil responded something back to this person in the previous screenshot, and then this guy said something back after that. I'm not even going to put up Phil's response because his response was just a really shitty joke. I will actually be linking the video that Steve showed me to get these screenshots from WPIG. I'll link that in the description so if you want to see the entire thing. But we're just going to read the screenshots of people saying Phil likes to touch himself. So this says, "Watch out, guys. He's the king of hate. Don't fuck with him. He'll beat your ass at 3S, then go home and masturbate to hentai." So there's another one mentioning that Phil has an issue with touching himself. From a different person, mind you. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one says in that highlighted area, but I've heard about the masturbation problem you got. It's very sad when you see a young dude like yourself get no pussy. Unless you pay CT. Okay, okay, we get the point. Men talk so dirty in these, my God. But you see, when I've heard about the masturbation problem you've got, it's like, this is a rumor that's been spread around this little community, and multiple people know it. Like, so you're telling me that this isn't true? Come on. Okay, so then that's pretty much all the screenshots I got from that. So the first one talks about him getting caught by Jamie in the hotel room touching himself. Okay. And then multiple other people come in and kind of agree and on the fact that it's well known that Phil has a problem with this. Okay. And then I kind of wanted to talk about like the number 3, the getting hard on alphaism radio to impress Angela. Somebody kind of explained it to me, that he there was a girl there and he put pornography on while he was there so that way he can get hard in front of this girl. Yeah, I don't know if there's any more details or an actual video on it, but I kind of want to look more into that because, and then isn't there a freaking page where Phil talks about how he goes to the mall to harass 14-year-old girls? Oh my gosh, all of this coming to light along with this sob story. Phil, Jesus, you are not the victim. You are a degenerate freak walking amongst us. Who knows what you're doing nowadays with how freaking weird you've been. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. But that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys. This is not the first incident. It's been well known that Phil has a problem with touching himself, so this shouldn't have even been a surprise that it happened on May 1st. This was bound to happen. In fact, I'd argue that this is a possibility that something like this may happen again in the future. So, yeah. Let's continue to the end of the video. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. And let me know if you want me to elaborate on this more once I learn more. Who knows what kind of shit he's into? And that poop theory that Phil is into scat. A person that is degenerately addicted to pornography, it makes sense. Because they're so desensitized to normal things that they reserve to things that you would never even think of because their brain can't comprehend what they need to be attracted to anymore because they've seen it all. Your brain cells are so fried, it needs something extreme to get the endorphins going. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Scat theory is looking pretty good to me. Alright, guys. That's all for me. That's all I can do. I feel disgusting. I feel gross. Watching somebody that clearly isn't a victim play the victim and manipulate the language to make themselves the victim makes me feel gross. This little clip here just shows that Phil has not changed whatsoever. He could play and act like he's just this happy little man that's married in this little house, and he's so happy and he makes all this money from these 2 people. It's not real. None of it's real. He just admitted to a lot of that not being real. So what makes me think that I could trust you now, Phil? I don't. Nobody does. And the ones that do, you've brainwashed. So, good for you, I guess. All right, guys. I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. And I don't even know what to say. Just have a good rest of your week. Take care of yourself. Just own the fact that you weren't the victim in a situation. Love you, Weenies. Okay. I'm done. Bye, Weenies.
Your daddy? No, you're my little bitch. Don't you understand? I run the fucking show out here, not you.